Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, Muslim comedian OG. This message is very special for two reasons. Number one, I want to announce that Mercy Bakery is the title sponsor for our comedy show at ISNA, our fourth annual Muslim Comedy Festival. This year's title, Confessions of Muslim Comedians. I want to make a special note because I'm very happy to have Mercy Bakery. And here's the reason why. I'm telling you a quick story. I hope you indulge me. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't really have charities around. We didn't have nonprofits that came into the neighborhoods. Communities took care of people in the community who were in need. And I remember being with my aunt Ruth and my grandmother Isabella. May Allah be pleased with both of them. And we went to this space that was handing out bread. They were handing out bread. And I remember feeling ashamed because my friends saw me going with my grandma and my aunt, and I didn't want them to think that we were poor because we weren't. And I looked at my grandmother. I said, Grandma, why are we in line to get bread? Why are we in line to get bread? I'm like, we have bread at home. People are going to think we're poor. My grandmother told me to shut up. She said, we're not in line to get bread for us. She said, we're in line to get bread for the people who can't come and get in line to get bread for themselves. That, brothers and sisters, is the power of Mercy Bakery. Their idea of having fresh food, addressing food deserts, food insecurity, throughout the world, Syria, Pakistan, all these places, they're going throughout the world with that same esprit de corps as my grandma Isabella and my aunt Ruth. And we all should line up, brothers and sisters, and celebrate Mercy Bakery. While they are investing in Islamic arts, we need to be investing in them and humanity. So shout out to Mercy Bakery. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. People as Mercy Bakery has supported us, we're going to ask that you support them. Donate what you can. Come to the show. We got a very good show. Myself, Yasmin Al-Hadi, Moses the Comic, Marlon Hill, Confessions of Muslim Comedians. Don't want to miss it. Thank you again, Mercy Bakery. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you soon. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, family. It's your brother Preacher Moss, the host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Welcome back to another Wednesday. I hope you're getting over. I hope you're having a good hump day, as we say in the game. Hope you're having a good hump day. Let me blow this out. There's a picture on the screen. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, just to bear with me. I want to give a shout out to the brothers who they're at Texas Department of Criminal Justice. It is a prison, better known as the Memorial Unit in Rosh Hashanah, Texas. I had the pleasure of being with them on Friday, performing with them, praying with them, making salat, praying Asr. And it wasn't just the Muslims. It was an interfaith affair. We had a couple of Jewish brothers, had some Christian brothers, just getting together in the chapel and rapping and having fun conversation. And, of course, me doing stand-up. It was a pleasure. It was probably one of my best shows this year. I think possibly I needed this show more than they did, to be honest with you. But what I want to throw out was just the hospitality of the brothers who came, the brothers who we prayed and we talked. Shout out to a budding comedian. I don't know when you're getting out, brother Jed, J-E-D, who opened the show for me. He didn't get my credits right. He didn't call me Preacher Moss, called me Pastor Moss. But hey, it's okay. I don't mind. Very funny young man. Got up, did like 3-4 minutes. And it's all about giving opportunities, brothers and sisters. It's all about giving opportunities and second chances. So if you don't mind, if you have an opportunity, please, please, please make dua for those brothers, as well as so many other people who are incarcerated in prisons and penal systems around the world. Pray for them, pray for them, pray for their success, pray for their families. Incarceration is no joke. I know it sounds like a pun from a comedian, but it is no joke. This is people doing serious time, serious offenses. But, you know, the redemptive quality, you can never go away from the redemptive quality or the opportunity for redemption with anybody, especially these brothers who have been incarcerated. Okay, that's one thing. Now, want to throw out another thing. Since Satana is not feeling well, please, people, take those duas, send them to New Jersey and up around Newark, New Jersey area. Please, our sister's not feeling well. May Allah increase her in health and give her shifa and have her return to her rightful, healthful state, whatever that is. We just want her better. And inshallah, we'll see her here next week. We actually have an author coming on next week, inshallah. Brother Zachariah, I should know his name. I don't know. Brother Zach has a new book. I apologize. I just drew a blank. It happens sometimes. But he's going to be on here talking about man up. Some of the issues about manhood that we need to be talking about. He's written an expansive book, looking at some of the problems that Muslim men and men in general face. But also, I think the beautiful part about this book is that it's a female reader too. That females can look at some of the problems and issues and challenges that men have and be supportive, or at least be aware of some of the things that they're going through. So that is that. I'm going to throw out a couple more things. I know we're having some problems in Instagram land. I don't know what's going on, but I hope you guys are out there. They're probably stuck, but Allah knows best. I do what I can. I do what I can. So out of that space, again, thank you guys. We do have the comedy show coming up this Friday at Isna Preacher Moss's 4th annual Muslim Comedy Festival at Isna. It's going to be going down. Great lineup. Yasmin El-Hadi, Marlon Hill, Moses the Comic, myself. Sponsored, our title sponsor is Mercy Bakery. One of our other sponsors is Rahma Worldwide. And one of my favorite sponsors is Muslim Aid. We have a plethora of other sponsors that are there. You have American Muslim Community Fund. You have Just Pack. You have law offices of Omar Khawaja. We have a man of funds. We have a whole lot of people. Of course, Isna has always been gracious in hosting the show. So we got a lot of folks. And we have another author, Brother Zakir Tamiz, who's written a book about Charles Sumner, Senator Charles Sumner, massive book, an epic book. In fact, alhamdulillah, I have just shipped off 2 of those books to the prisons to add to their libraries. So you got a lot of Quranic stuff. History is important, so we're gonna put history on the shelves, inshallah. So let me go and get ready. Don't move. We're gonna be right back. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's have some fun. Our topic today is why Muslims look so weak in the media. Let me say it again. Why Muslims look so weak in the media. I got some answers. You might be interested. You might be upset. But I'm going to be honest. See you in a minute. We back. Let's shout. That's how live stars in the building. I want to give a shout out to Sister Ree. How you doing, sister? Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace and blessings to your family, Brother Derek, and the young warrior Juwan. I hope everybody's doing all right on your block. I want to give a shout out also to Brother Altaf Rashid. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh. One of our day ones. We call him Mr. 6 Club, straight up, straight down, our Canadian envoy to the show. No terrorists. He's here. One of our day ones, brother. We appreciate you always being in the spot. And got to move up. I got my brother, JT, Johnny L. Thomas, who inshallah will be meeting me in Chicago to take part in the ISNA conference. We ain't going to take part in the ISNA conference. We're gonna talk smack, watch football, and eat way too much. But that's what brothers do. That's the way it goes. Good to see you in the building. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi barakatuh. And my main man, Bilal Salahuddin, and his queen, Sister Sonia Dalton Salahuddin. Hope y'all are doing well. I know that when I'm back, I owe you guys dinner because you've been married over 20-some years. I have not slept on that. I'm going to figure out where we can go meet up, and we're going to have something to eat. I appreciate you guys always supporting the show, and means a lot as always. So we do have a little bit of a glitch with our Instagram. It's just not working. We got CW Butter 365, uh, Houston, Texas, Mustafa. We got Masanjaya, uh, Naziri, Naziriaz. I don't know what's going on. Something keeps messing up with these social media things. Seems like it's not a conspiracy. It just seems like for some reason they just don't work. Which really goes to the point I was telling a young guy earlier today when I was getting on my inspection done on my car. He was having to, he was like, when you tap it, you have to tap it right here. You know how you use it, your digital wallet. He said, when you tap, you have to tap it right here. It won't work. I said, that's technology, man. I said, doing everything it can do to make you slower. But I was thinking about this while I was waiting for the car to go to get worked out. Let's just call it that. And I've been watching and looking at a lot of things on TV. Saw a really good speech by Dick Gregory. I think it was back in maybe the 70s, early 80s, and speaking about Muslims. He was talking about the Nation of Islam Muslims at that time, and I really caught some nuances of what he was saying about Islam at that particular iteration, at that particular time. You're talking about 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, into the 80s. And it was really interesting how he addressed the Muslims in the room because, one, he challenged them, but two, he challenged them based on the fact that you've come this far, that these were your challenges. What are your new challenges? And his new challenges that he gave them was like, listen, you need to be able to take this religion away from just the block around the world. Around the world. He was 100% correct. And in my personal conversations that I had with him, we did talk about this. One of my mentors, Harry Weber, may Allah be pleased with him, good guy. Early on, he's a Hall of Fame ad executive down on Madison Avenue. Great commercials. My baloney has a first name. I'm stuck on Band-Aid because Band-Aid stuck on me. And of course, his signature, United Negro College Fund of mine, is a terrible thing to waste. One time we were sitting at a restaurant, Roscoe's, and on Sunset and Gower in California, and I told him that I wanted, in my very naive way, I want to figure out a way to raise the profile of Muslims, to improve the image of Muslims in the media. And he told me with a straight face, you can't do it. And of course, I was taken aback. What do you mean you can't do it? And some of you heard the story. He said, well, you don't know how much money has gone into you having that image. That was number one. And then he asked a question. He said, I'm not Muslim. He goes, well, how much money do you put into your image? How much money does Muslims put into their image? He said Pepsi Cola may spend, a couple $1 million on Pepsi Cola products. How much money do Muslims spend on their image, particularly being in America, knowing that you're under attack, knowing that you're not a favorite religious group? Call it what you want to. And I had no answer. And as we began to watch the news devolve around us, you know all the crises, Sudan, the crisis in Yemen, crisis in Syria, crisis in, of course, Gaza, all these Muslim countries. And if you look at the reaction looks rather tepid. That we may protest and we may put up billboards and things like that, but it's tepid to the fact that it does not affect culture, right? It does not change the social narrative. It is not, in the worst cases, cause thought or shame for things that are being done. And I said, why do Muslims look weak in America, in the media? And then, of course, I said, why do we look weak in America? Well, there are several factors. One is the African American narrative of Islam in America. And this is not to the detriment of my immigrant Muslim brothers and sisters. It's just facts. The narrative of African Americans and Islam in America is a very unique a very unique process whereby the religion I'm talking about is bare rudiments. We're not talking about Hafiz back in the 1940s and 50s. The bare rudiments of saying Islam and a God other than the white man told the black man to follow. That's number one. But it was also the fact that the women, the women drove this religion and raised a culture of men, particularly in the Nation of Islam, raised a culture of men who cleaned themselves up. And in the version of Islam through the African American experience, going back to the NOI, they cleaned themselves up and at the same time took a mirror and showed America how ugly it was. America is never forgotten. That the people, think about this, a man in a bow tie, clean, pristine, part, clothes pressed, shoes shine, is looking at a man who's calling them a nigger, who's in overalls, funky, straw hat, poo-poo on his boot, teeth missing, teeth raggedy. He hates that man. He hates that black man that looks good. He hates that black man that looks good in spite of the fact America has done everything to make sure that black man is ugly. He hates the fact that that black man pressures America, and more so pressures America. He places value on his family, the family that had been torn apart, the family that was so dysfunctional, the family that was legally legally deconstructed, the welfare and all the other tricks. That America hates that version. In America, if you think about it, can never afford to see that version again. See, we don't talk about this, but I will. When I was in college, Marquette University, 1984 through 1988, and I was introduced to diverse populations, and there were Muslims in the United Center. That's where all the international students were, and there were Muslims there. I didn't think they were Muslims. Because when we talked about things like racism at the school and the need for greater diversity and acknowledging the crimes and the historical crimes against Blacks, Native American, indigenous people in the city of Milwaukee in terms of how they were taking property, they never joined the conversation. And like I said, I didn't think they were Muslim because of it, because I was like, well, and someone said I have to pray. I was like, what are you praying for? Because I'm a Muslim. I'm like, are you sure? Because I question his level of activism. And this is something that has not been said enough. I understand that when Muslims come to the United States from other countries, they don't come here with a free reign. They don't come here with a clean slate. That India, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, some of the Africans that have been dominated by colonialism. So they were practicing Islam under the auspices of a colonialism. And so when they come here, it's just matching up. So that African American practicing Islam looks foreign to someone who's foreign. It looks indistinguishable in some regards because it seems like protest, but it's people are not asking the questions. The real question: what drives you in your faith? What is it that moves you from point A to point B when everybody can only say point A? Now let me throw this out to you. The bigger picture is the aspect of the Black church here in the United States, which you don't talk about enough. The Black church in the United States, who when Africans came here and practiced Islam and then it died away, when it came back, it embraced Islam. It had the protective powers. Think about this. It had the protective powers to understand that this faith, hear me now, this faith was valuable. And in it being valuable, there are people who, yes, They may have looked Christian on the outside, but they practice Islam on the inside. That Hafiz wrote on pieces of paper the Quran, certain ayats, certain surahs, stories of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. And this is the narrative. You see, when you go over to other countries, they don't have stories about having to hide their Quran. They don't have stories about having to hide their religion. You see, if you're in Pakistan and you go to the UK, that's all the UK empire, right? If you go to India, that's all they may have moved out of there, but the auspices of I want to say colonialism are still there. You know what I'm saying? So when we think about this, why do we look so weak in the media? Well, because we become our worst enemies. You know, in the Black community, it's difficult to say this, but we don't have standout leaders. And when I say standout leaders, I mean visionary leaders. You know, as much as we howl about Barack Obama becoming a president, in the sum total, the African American community didn't benefit. You know, it didn't benefit. You know, the whole idea of liberals, let me be careful about how I use that word, liberals somehow supporting Black folks because it's convenient or because he's going to win anyway, somehow supporting them when they didn't support other Black folk. Nobody supported Shirley Chisholm, and she was just as dynamic, if not more dynamic, than Barack Obama. Jesse Jackson, more dynamic, but he was accepted. He was accepted. I'm going to give a shout out. My main man, Eric Carter. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shout out to my brother in South Kakalaki, man. Good to see you. But I'm going to throw this out right before we go to the break. I asked the question, why do Muslims look so weak in the media? One is we've had a failure to create our own media. We've had a failure to create our own media. Through wives' tales and this is haram and things like that, we've lost the power of our own narrative. So when we put a TV show on or something on Hulu or something on Netflix, this is what I want you to know. We don't have a boss. We don't have a Dundada in the room who shapes the rest of that conversation. We are selling to people. We are not buyers. People do not come to us and tell us, listen to my narrative. No, we're sellers. We're constantly trying to sell our stories. In the writer's room, we're constantly trying to pitch a story. Or as I remember when I worked on the Lopez store, you were constantly trying to defend a story so that it wasn't taken far off the rails, because it would be possibly disingenuous or worse, insulting towards Latinos at the time. That was my job. But we're not in the room. And when you're not in the room, people will frame your image however the heck they want to. You know, let's just be very clear. You know, the idea of wanting to be wanted is a very overwhelming, intoxicating feeling. The idea that I am wanted is intoxicating. The idea that I am respected is fearful. It's frightening. Wanted, respected. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, Muslim comedian OG. I want to make this announcement. I want to give thanks, deep thanks to Rahmah Worldwide for supporting the 4th annual Muslim Comedy Festival at ISNA. We have a great show. Myself, Yasmin Al-Hadi, Moses the Comic, Marlon Hill. And our title this year is Confessions of Muslim Comedians. Now, Let me say something about Rahma. I'll keep it short because I don't want to take up your time. If you took Rahma Worldwide and their slogan, Empowering Hope, if you put it on a scramble board, you know what you're going to have? You're going to have a dichotomy, a very clear picture of an organization with over 2,000 staff and volunteers that have been serving the world community since 2014. Now, what I'm asking you to do, because they're investing in culture, I'm going to ask you to invest in them. Look at the QR code, go to their website, see what they need. These brothers and sisters are on the ground all the time, 24/7, 365. Now, I tell jokes. This is no joke. Support Rahma Worldwide. Inshallah, we'll see you at the show. If not, we'll see you on the ground with Rahma Worldwide. Preacher Mars, shout out again and thanks to Rahma Worldwide. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, we're back. Shout out to Rahma Worldwide. We'll see you guys at the ISNA show, inshallah, along with so many other people. Man, I'm hyped. You know, last year we had ISNA at Dallas. It was a great show. Brother Cornell West came out to the show. Had a great time with him. This year, back in Chicago, well, Rosemont, Illinois, outside of Chicago at the Rosemont Convention Center, Douglas Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. It's a thing I want to say, because I don't want to be misconstrued. See, when I say why do Muslims look weak in the media, there's a different level to it. There's a little bit of a different level. It's not so much about strength, but it's about purposefulness. Have we gotten to a point where we have somehow lost a understanding, or I want to say we're not in touch with purposefulness? That we have this disparity of everything that's going around, and we throw spaghetti up against the wall. Let me give you something that maybe this will help. And this is what I mean by the African American Muslim experience. America is a hardship for African Americans. You come out of the womb, you are controversial and you are political. Just by virtue of the fact that you have presence and you exist. I've said this before. But for religion with African Americans, not just Islam, and the AME and all those progressions of religious expression, it's interesting because they were able to take, particularly Islam in the early 1900s, they were able to take this religion to places, different places, put it there. Different places where it had no value, put it there. It developed value, it developed relationships, it developed relevance. I spoke with a good friend of mine, he's a PhD, and he said Islam in America will always look weak until there's a revisiting of that, whereby a brother comes from Pakistan, a brother comes from India, Saudi Arabia, and he goes to the place where the value of Islam is the weakest. The quotient or the image or the expression of Islam is the weakest. And he stays there until it becomes strong. He stays there until it becomes relevant. He stays there until it increases value. He stays there till people find value. And in that value, it changes lives. Will we see that? I don't know. But until that time, brothers and sisters, they'd say it, we're going to still be looking weak. That's your show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See y'all in Chicago. Take care now.